the Facebook live talk and concert series. A very good welcome to today's session and good evening to all of you. In UK, this is almost 5 p.m. India, about 9:30. So perhaps in India. So Amra, in India, 9:30, so it is almost night, and we are moving towards sunset. The day is quite sunny here in England. And like I told you, this session started more than 1.5 months ago. And many thanks to those who are watching and who are finding their solace in this beautiful event of music, poetry, and all other art forms. As you know, we are trying to explore the journey of artists, a bit more intricacies of different art forms through interviews and through performances. And we are so delighted that you all are loving it. You all are leaving so many wonderful feedbacks, so that inspired us a lot. We started because we tried to engage ourselves in some meaningful activities that also inspires our quest to art, literature, and music. And this is so nice that you all are liking it. And this is also so nice, so many world-class artists from all around the globe, not just from Indian subcontinental heritage. So all different cultures are showing your interest to be featured as part of this concert series. So we will come to all of you, perhaps, and then we like I told before, this session is to explore more about artist journey, artist inner talk, inner vision, inner philosophy, along with rare performances. And all of you perhaps will agree that this session features so many rare performances and so many rare things about the artists that wasn't revealed before. So many thanks who are watching. This is an honest request to all of you. Please do share this beautiful session, and because we aim to connect as many audiences as possible all around the globe. So by your sharing, by your sharing in your timeline, you are giving opportunity to all others, and especially those who are same-minded, an opportunity to watch, to be the part of this beautiful session of poetry and music. So let me introduce our panel members today. Let me start with a regular panel member and also a wonderful friend based in Brighton, a seaside, as you know. Brighton is a seaside, perhaps sun rays are setting, sun is setting on the shore of Brighton now. And Shaheen Mitul is also a spoken word artist, a concert organizer, and a regular part and parcel of this session. Welcome, Mitul, and many thanks for joining.
Thank you so much, and welcome everyone to the show.
I also would like to introduce another panel member, part and parcel of this panel, a political activist, a social justice campaigner, Jasmine Chaudhry. Many thanks, Jasmine, for joining today.
Many thanks, Kaiser Bhai. Warm welcome to Rohinda and everybody else on the panel.
I also would like to, I can see Eric is here, but we can't see him. Perhaps because webcam is not working, but let's see. I also would like to introduce another panel member, regular panel member, one of the finest Tagore singers here in UK, a preacher of music, a founder of 3 wonderful organizations, Robika, Ravi Bharati, and Niyam, Sri Sanjay Day. Many thanks, Sanjay Da, for joining today, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Kaiser Bhai. It's really a wonderful opportunity. And as I know, Rohen Bose since childhood, I was really looking forward to listen to his playing for this big day. So thanks to everyone. Thank you, Rohen Bose, for coming to this event, joining. Thanks.
So many thanks. And I also would like to introduce our, oh great, Eric. Our another panel member, regular panel member, one of the finest Indian semi-classical vocalists here in UK, a founder of another music organization based in Leeds, based in the north, Pratibha Performing Arts, Srimati Shumana Mullik Bosu. Many thanks, Shumana, for joining today.
Thank you so much, Kaishar Bhai and Saudha, for having me, and looking forward to another mesmerizing evening with you all. Thank you.
And this is a pleasure to have one of Saudha's firm supporter, a friend, a troubadour vocalist, a poet, a filmmaker, and actor, Eric Shilander. Hello, Eric. Welcome to this session, and many thanks for joining today. Can you hear me?
I can. I was just finding the microphone.
Great.
I've just got an old PC.
Many thanks, Eric, for joining today.
Thank you so much for asking me.
So let me introduce our today's main attention, Sri Rohen Bose.
Namaskar.
Welcome to today's session, Rohen, and many thanks for joining as part of this session. So Rohen Bose.
Namaskar to everybody, and thank you for inviting me. And thanks Saudha Arts for having me. Thanks Mr. Sanjay Day for believing in me and referring me for this. It's a wonderful initiative. I'm really glad.
Yeah, Rohen, we have so many things to explore about you. You have also a very interesting journey in music. You came from a very illustrious family musical background. You inherit Banaras Gharana from your family heritage and also from your own interest as well. So Rohen Bose is the son of Pandit Debojyoti Bose, a hallmark of Sarod himself from Senia. From Senia Bangash Gharana, is also a brilliant composer. So as you know, Rohen is also nephew of another two stalwarts of Hindustani classical music. One is Pandit Kumar Bose, a legendary tabla player and the finest tabla player of Banaras Gharana, and also another legend. Is so fortunate to have them as an uncle and as father, Debojyoti Bose, obviously. Acharya Jayanta Bose. So you came from such a wonderful family background, especially the three wonderful musicians that Hindustani classical music is hugely indebted. And now you preach the Benares Gharana style of tabla, and above all, the things that attracts me, that you are also quite interested in uh, academic vision of Hindustani classical music. You did so many I classes, post-structural, analytical research on the language of tabla that I will be personally interested in to explore more. But let us start with a bit of your playing, your performance, and perhaps something that you personally are interested in to complement poetry. Benares Gharana is very powerful Gharana that promotes poetry through uh, every genre of music, and you are the one who tries to develop the power of poetry through your performances. So perhaps something from those unique performances, you can choose something and offer for our audiences this evening.
Well, sure, sure. I would say that this is probably my first live performance or talk or anything that you would consider, and I'm extremely thankful to Saudha Arts for hosting me in this opportunity. And in India, we have this saying: whenever we do something for the first time, it's uh, it's dedicated to the Lord Ganesh. So we say Sri Ganesh. Let's start.
Sure.
So Benares Gharana has been experimenting in this amalgamation of languages, which has one constructive language and one abstract language. The other one being the language of Tabla. So we'll elaborately speak about it. But as a
Yeah.
specimen and as a dedication to the Lord Ganesha to start my new journey, I would like to perform a bowl, which is a poem with amalgamation of tabla bowls and Hindi, and it describes Lord Ganesha. And
Before
I
you
would
start,
just
Rohen, before you start, I would like to ask all of my panel members if they found the live streaming okay. Has everyone found them okay? Is it Sanjayda,
Yeah, I
Mitul,
have just shared it.
Jasmine? Jasmine,
Yeah.
did you find it okay? Did you find
Yes. Yes.
streaming? Shumana, Rohen?
yeah, I am
Yeah,
okay.
just now I've shared it and I
Okay,
found the
and
link.
Rohen, did you find it okay? Did you find it in?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
fine.
that's fine. Thank you.
To me, it's
Thank you
fine.
very much. Okay, great.
So I will just recite the poetry, and
Okay,
then I'll play it with a short introduction to it,
wow.
and would like to commence the conversation. So the poetry describes Lord Ganesha. It says, Jai Jai Ganapati, Gananayaka. So these are the names of Ganapati, which describes him. So Jai Jai Ganapati, Gananayaka, Vinayaka, Lambodara. Lambodara means the trunk. Lambodara, Gajabadana, that teeth. Gajabadana, Ekadanta Gauri Sutta. Ekadanta, one teeth, and Gauri Sutta. Gauri is the other name of Parvati, his mother. So Gauri Sutta, son of Gauri. Gauri Sutta, Priya Mahesh. Mahesh is Lord Shiva, his father. So Priya Mahesh, very beloved of Mahesh. Priya Mahesh, and then Dhagene Tete, Kradhene Dhagene Tete, Hendra Kran, Prathama Sumara Nara. Prathama Sumara Nara is that thing that he's always worshipped in the beginning. Prathama Sumara Nara, Sakala Viganahara. Sakala Vignahara, all problems are solved by him. Bhay Kalesh Dur se nibare. Bhay
Wow.
Kalesh means all the fear and foes that you have will be all destroyed from very far away. So Bhay Kalesh Dur se nibare, tum siddhi buddhi ke data. Siddhi means enlightenment and buddhi means intelligence. So tum siddhi buddhi ke data. You are the giver of all intelligence and enlightenment in this world. And it goes this way. It's in Teen Tal, and it goes this way. जय जय गणपति गणनायक विनायक लंबोदर गजबदन एक दंत गौरी सुत प्रिय महेश धागिने धागिने तटे कृधिने धागिने तटे केंद्र कृत प्राण द प्राण प्रथम कुमार नर सकल विघ्न भय कलेश दूर से निवारे तुम सिद्धि बुद्धि के दाता तुम सिद्धि बुद्धि के दाता तुम सिद्धि बुद्धि के दाता दिन 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 जय जय गणपति गणनायक विनायक लंबोदर गजबदन एकदंत गौरी महेश धागिने धागिने सकल विघ्न हर भय कलेश दूर से बुद्धि के दाता बुद्धि के दाता Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Many,
brilliant,
many,
Rohen.
many thanks. Hmm?
That's really, really brilliant. Wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What a beautiful start, Rohan. What a beautiful start. And let me say, before you ask, or engage in conversation, let me see whether Eric can read any poem to complement this devotional start.
I'm not sure if I've got anything devotional.
No, but anything in relation to love would
Well,
perhaps.
I'll start
Yeah.
off with something. I've never read any Japanese poems before.
Wow.
These were from the Middle Ages in Japan.
Mhm.
And like lots of Chinese poetry, they're very, very short.
Mhm.
This is a
Is it
poem.
possible to get your microphone nearer? Yeah.
Is that better now?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. This is by a poet called Shansai's Daughter. These are all poems by female poets in Japan, very often from the court in the Middle Ages. And she writes, brought by the breeze, the scent of flowers in my sleeve is what awakes me on a pillow richly fragrant with the brief spring night of dreams. And they're all just little tiny jewels, like some of the Hafiz poems. Another one, hidden in winter, the spring moors are all aflame, and he who burns them, can he never burn enough that he now sets fire to my heart?
Wow.
Eric, I just want to know, is this called haiku?
No, they're not.
No?
They're different.
What is the difference between that Japanese?
Haiku is a 3-line verse
All right.
with just 17
Smaller than this.
17 syllables. Although my partner Hannah, who has started to learn Japanese in the past, says that's not quite accurate because that's a simplification for Westerners. But that's the basic idea. And
Right. Thank you.
you're welcome. Would you like a? Oh,
Yeah, you.
yeah, I went, but it doesn't matter.
No, that's fine.
Would you like a one by Rumi?
Yeah, sure. Please do. Can we have your webcam on?
I see what happened. There, that should do it.
Good. Yes.
Thank you.
Great.
This moment, this love comes to rest in me, bringing many beings in one being. In one wheat grain, 1,000 sheaf stacks. Inside a needle's eye, the turning night of stars. We are the night ocean filled with glints of light. We are the space between the fish and the moon while we sit here together. The wind is what you say. The night bird is drunk with the syllables of your name, over and over, like the strokes of a portrait being carefully painted in the tall space inside of me.
Wow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Rohen,
Ah,
before we engage in a bit more profound conversation about your interest in Tabla, developing a own language of Tabla, and you did research on this. You did a linguistic discourse. I mean, what was the research subject? The language of Tabla and linguistic discourse.
yeah, and linguistic discourse.
Okay, that's great. Could you be able to let us know a bit more about your gurus and especially your family music? How, I mean, you are one of those fortunate musicians who fortunately got 3 great musicians of Hindustani classical music as your uncles and father. So perhaps your own anecdote of childhood, the way you learned from them, the things you learned from them, perhaps if you can cover.
Well, I would say it in a very short way because, otherwise the whole session can be on this. So it's better we can
Yeah.
wrap it up in a very short way. Well, I am quite fortunate to actually realize that I am into this cultural treasure trove where there are millions of things around me going on, and I was probably not even aware of it until I actually entered college. My college was Rabindra Bharati University, which was supposed to educate me in musicology. But what it really did to me was actually make me conscious. It made me culturally conscious about my surroundings, which I wasn't till then. I wanted to be a filmmaker or a professor of cinema, and that was my plan from childhood. I always wanted to make films, and if I wouldn't have cracked the deal, I would have preferred to be a cinema professor of cinema studies. And I was a cinephile. I was regular at film festivals, watching 4 films back to back each day. A big fan of Stanley Kubrick. And my father, who is a very strange man, my father is my father never suggests something to anybody. He just puts the whole world in a flat platter to you and says that this is the world, and you check it out. You decide what you want to do. You decide what you like. I wouldn't say anything. I have my preferences. I'll live my life with those preferences. You can do whatever you want. And even in my case, it was the same thing. And I was let alone do, to do anything that I wanted, and I did actually, which was a great experience. Actually, I realized later. I was born to this super talented family of musicians where everybody is probably born legends with super skill in music and many other things which people don't know of. My father and uncles are great even in doing, handicraft work. My father could do any possible thing that I ever asked him to do. Print photographs from negatives, and anything that I asked him to do or I wanted to do, he took me there and we did that
And
just
also
to explore it.
one thing I would like to add with this is he's a wonderful dress designer as well.
Exactly. He
Shamida.
used to do.
Yeah.
He could actually. He could. I mean, he actually can, and he still does. Actually, cut the cloth according to the kurta and make his own kurtas. It's not that you just go and tell the tailor that this is this and that we want. He actually goes
Artist
and
in
cuts
every
the thing.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he wanted me to explore all those artistic avenues, and then decide what I wanted to do. He always knew that I will go into films, which is why he supported me when I made a documentary on him. I was in school and it was his 50th birthday, and I made a documentary on him. He supported me in that. It was not a very great technical film because I didn't have means. It went well. Next time he intrigued me to make a documentary on my uncle and guru, which did well because I had the means and I had a producer to support me. But coming back to my point, I thought that how can I play tabla or I can do anything in music because they have set the standard so high. I can't do anything, to do what? There's nothing left for me to do. Everything is done. Whatever I'll do will be a repetition. And I
True.
didn't want to do a repetition. So I was taught to play tabla like everybody in our house can. All the sisters of mine can. All the brothers, like of my fathers, can play tabla. So even some of my aunts can play tabla. So it's a very basic thing that is in our house that everybody can play tabla. So it was also taught to me, and I was doing it just for fun, playing it in school fests and other places. And I was not serious, and I never had a plan to play. When I was in class 11, this was just before the advent of internet coming in like everybody's pocket. You know, we were probably the last generation who couldn't have that much access to internet. It was I think I was in 11 when I was when it was 2009 or 2010, and we didn't have smartphones then. So I didn't know how to crack into a film school. So my father said that if you want to do film studies, anything that you do, I'll support. Don't worry. But one thing I knew that I wanted to go into a technical course as far as film is concerned, not acting or directing or writing.
But
I wanted to go.
is there any good institute for
Of course.
learning film in
Yeah,
Kolkata? As far as I know, Pune has a world.
no, there is
Satyajit Film
Satyajit.
Institute. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Satyajit Film Institute is
Yeah,
also
and
there.
there is
Yeah.
also Roopkala Kendro, which is also a good film school.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, so I went there and I wanted to do any of the three things, either cinematography or light or
Hmm.
editing. Any of these three things I would opt for because I wanted to go into a technical course into film. I never wanted to come in front of the camera or in front of the stage. I was a child and I always thought that the people behind the camera are actually doing the magic, and the people in front of camera are just acting to their instructions.
True.
So I went there, but what I realized is when I was in class 12 when I went there, and they told me that you don't have science in your plus two. I said no. I was like terrible in maths, and I I probably had answer 45 and got 54 in my 10th, and I still don't realize how I got it. So I was terrible in maths, and I didn't take science in my +2. And they said that if you don't have science, you're not eligible to even sit for the examination for those 3 technical courses. But if you sit for other courses like directing, screenwriting, acting, then you can sit, because if you don't have, like, you don't have science. My father and there was a teacher of mine who my father was apparently working with at that point of time. He's a national award winning director, Shekhar Dash.
Hmm.
So he said, you have a lot of time in your life, go and sit for the acting course, you look good, just see if it happens. I sat and I cracked it.
Hmm.
But I was so stupid, I refused it. I said, no, I don't want to go for acting. I want to go for basically cinematography and then move into directorial. So I left. But that was a very big stupidity, because acting would have been a gateway for me to get into that industry,
Hmm. Hmm.
which otherwise was very difficult. So then my father told me, then what you want to do if this is not the thing? So I said, I'll do tabla. By that time, very unconsciously, I was playing professionally. Uh, it was fun, but all the payments I used to receive would go to my father, so it was not as fun as it sounds.
Hmm.
So it was okay. But so I said I'll pursue tabla professionally. So
Hmm.
he said, I have agreed to whatever you have said, but you'll have to agree to one point of mine. If you
Hmm.
do films, you can do films. If you want to pursue tabla, you can pursue tabla. You can do whatever you want. But you, whatever you do, you'll have to get into an institutional training of that particular thing.
Hmm.
That is my condition. Now you
Hmm.
decide what you do. So I said, okay, I'll get into Rabindra Bharati and study musicology.
Hmm.
The best thing is I got into Rabindra Bharati, and it was super, because I came out with fantastic results in the first semester, and
Hmm.
everybody was so happy. And I got a bit, glued to that. I said, "Arey, this is working, so let's do this." By that time, I started performing, so everything started falling into place. But as I got into the education and the history of our musicology, I thought there are, like, it's very gray and it's very shady, it's very messed up. And this is where something started changing in me. And I thought that it's not only about just going up on stage and playing your stuff and come down and, get the payment, go home, eat mutton and sleep. This is not an artist's conscience. There has to be some social consciousness, and whatever you can. I agree that, people who are powerful artists, or probably not even artists, probably, somebody who can roll or spin a lot of money in the industry, can do something directly in the social arena. But as an artist, I can only do, or I can only create some awareness about issues. Maybe I can't do something very directly, but why not that? And if I'm a very small person in the whole thing, at least I'll try to do that for my conscience. And from this journey, I started uh, musicology. I started studying musicology in a very social realm. There were controversies. Meanwhile, I came into this thing where Banaras Gharana has worked a lot on this particular format, where you include uh, any constructive language with tabla bols. But all of the works that has been done are dedicated to either Hindu gods or nature. Well, we can categorize these things as a very religious thing, but I did not. I found it very creative on the aspect of imagination,
Hmm.
and I started studying them. And when I started writing, I included a contemporary angle to it. Why not? Why not compositions on contemporary issues?
True.
Why not compositions on daily struggles or our life? You know. So a poetry on Radha Krishna is beautiful, is fantastic, but probably that's not my love story. Composition on Krishna's childhood is fantastic, is very imaginative, beautiful. I would also like to write something like that someday, but probably doesn't give me that that sense of solace while reading it, because it's not connected to me directly. So if something is so directly connected as this lockdown, I am stuck. And if I can express myself through this language, only then this language has a validity in our life. Otherwise, that language has no validity, because language is to express your own feelings. If you can't express your own feelings, you are expressing someone else's feelings. That language has no validity, and therefore I started writing such stuff. I started with very simple stuff like a birthday wish bowl gift to my uncle or something like that.
Right.
One thing,
Rohen, let us do a bit of performance. But before we go for performance, I mean, through your talk, what I can realize, you are trying to give a sense of deconstruction of the traditional Tabla of Banaras Gharana. So you inherited the tradition of Radha Krishna story, but you are trying to connect more contemporary issues in Tabla, which is quite interesting, and that probably distinguishes you from even from your uncles and all other traditionalists. If you start your journey in that track or in that path. But one thing I also would like to ask, did you get your permission from your uncles when you, because obviously being born in such a great musical family and someone who is almost deemed as a legendary figure, a living legend of Tabla, your struggle is to fight with yourself now, because like you said, they set a world-class standard of Tabla. So when you start and when you see yourself in this journey, you see someone who is at that height. So perhaps film could be an easier option. Then you came back to Tabla. And did you, what your uncle said when you started, when you decided to go ahead with the Tabla?
Well, this issue is not there in my life. I'll tell you why. Because Banaras Gharana itself has been a very progressive Gharana as far as experimentations are concerned. And the main anchors of this Gharana, like the names like Pandit Kishan Maharaj Ji, he has been very socially active apart from his musical career. He was a poet who have written several progressive poems which are not out, unfortunately. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't publish it. I would love to translate it, by the way. But he has written like those are pure Hindi poetry, but they are very, very progressive. He has done a lot of social work as far as progression in society is concerned. As far as my uncle is concerned, he has shown a different dimension to Banaras Gharana. He has brought in sounds from this instrument which nobody have ever thought of before. So I think that there has always been this this trial of
the scope of experiment, you meant.
Yeah, of my Gharana to do something to just not deconstruct or break the Gharana. That wouldn't be the intention, but to push the boundaries a bit. push the boundaries. If the Gharana boundaries becomes a bit wider in each generation, that will be a wonderful thing to do. When I started doing this, there was nobody to stop me. They were quite glad that I was doing. They were quite glad.
Great, Rohen. I mean, what a wonderful start. What a wonderful start. So this is something that personally myself and many, I think many people would be interested in. When you started with a vision. You started with marking your own signature. You have so many traditionalists in your family, but you started with a vision of creating your own signature. That's why, like you very rightly said, that our Gharana, before yourself, always, I mean, always reflect the story of traditional mythical stories, but it lacks the contemporary stories, contemporary poetry, powerful contemporary poetry. Your emotion must be different than people who were born 50 or 60 years ago. So you would try to contemporize the language of Tabla. And it looks like that is your vision, and that is perhaps that will make your own signature. Let us see for the future. Let us look at the future. But let me see what our audiences are saying in the meantime, and then I'll go for a bit of performance. Mitul?
Yes, Kamalveer Singh ji has said hello to all. Eric is great. Arjun Roy, Shubhecha.
Kamalveer ji is a firm supporter of Saudha's activities. Rohen, he is one of the finest Indian classical vocalists, Indian violinists here in UK, and also a wonderful ghazal singer, a wonderful human being. Many thanks, Kamalveer ji. Rohen Bose is the son of Pandit Devajyoti Bose ji, and the nephew of Pandit Kumar Bose ji.
And then Siddharth Avadit Tate has said, Jai Guru, Jai Sangeet, Jai Banaras. And
many thanks. So those who are watching, please share it. Please share. These discussions are very, I find it very interesting and definitely meaningful.
Well, I have something for Saudha Arts and the panel that I have written on this lockdown.
Okay, let us read a bit more, perhaps feedback, and then I'll come back. Anything else?
Course.
Yeah, he has also mentioned there is a lot of air sound coming while Rohen Bhai is playing, but I guess it's coming from someone else. So if
someone else's thingy, yeah. So
we'll
we'll mute.
Also come for me. It's terribly hot in Calcutta. I can't switch off the fan. I'm really sorry.
No, I don't think it's fan sound. It's perhaps someone else's.
Yeah, I think
I
so.
wasn't there.
Yeah. Okay. Then Pallavi Ghataki, best wishes. Harish Roy, Dekti Kaisar Bhai. That's all I've got for now.
Many thanks. So please, those who are watching, it's an honest request. Please share. Please let others have the opportunity to be the part of this meaningful, profound talk and performance. Very experimental performances. Rohen, before you go for the next performances, how is Kolkata? How are you coping with Corona? This terrible or unprecedented time?
Kolkata is not in a great state. There have been many informations that are hidden from us, and we exactly don't know how many numbers of people are actually affected here. So it's a bit shady. We don't know. But as far as the lockdown is concerned, it's not a great way of doing lockdown, because most of the people are out because they're tired of the lockdown. They've started doing their job, and many things are available due to that, which is great. But I also think that you can't really go on doing this, because considering the social status that we belong in Calcutta, with most of the people, we can't be shutting down everything for 2 months. It will be very difficult. So I think that's what is happening, and people are just coming out.
Thank you, Rohan. We request everyone to stay safe stay at home, stay safe. Even though lockdown is open, please bear this in mind. That lockdown opens means there are some seats available in hospital. Corona hasn't gone yet. Seats available are in hospital. So please bear this in mind. A lockdown open doesn't mean that Corona has gone. So many thanks who are watching, and please stay safe, stay at home, social distancing, self-isolating. These are the means. These are the only means now. Please follow these instructions. Rohen, what is the gift for Saudha?
Oh,
Little
wow.
plant. We look forward for this now.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. But I would like to say something that this I write majorly in Bengali. So whenever you are tagging Tabla language, you need another constructive language. I'll just explain the science of it. Whenever there are theories of linguistics. Any word that we use actually has no meaning unless it's it's taken under a structure. So that structure establishes that word and its meaning for several centuries, and therefore we are using that. So a pointed finger upwards within the parameters of Lords would mean to get even somebody like Virat Kohli out, but just outside the Lords, that pointed finger has no value. So exactly that's what language, or that's how language operates. But the beautiful thing about abstract languages or unconstructed languages like Tabla language is the words or the phrases or the phonetics change their meaning with the context that they are put in. And that's exactly what I try to do in my poetry. I try to just interpret Tabla syllables in different ways by putting it in different constructive language paraphrases. So in this poetry, I have done the same thing. Just a second. There is a very famous Hindi idiom, and that we say to many a times we say this, that उसके दिल में नाड़ा बज रहा है, कि नाड़ा बज सकता है अभी. Now that nara can be of happiness, that nara can be of sorrow, that nara can be of fear.
True.
So that nara is playing in everybody's heart. But the point is that nara changes its meaning with context. Now nara is a very tabla thing because it's a tabla bowl. Nara.
True.
And we play it like this. Nara ghene. And nara nati. Nara nati. So we can play it in a different way. In this poetry, I have made it into this phrase, which is a very Banaras famous lagdi, which is called Dhati Nara. So Dhati Nara, Dhati Nara, Dhati Nara, Dhati Nara, Dhati Nara. And so this is the phrase, Dhati Nara. And every time, after every paragraph, this phrase comes in with a different meaning. And that meaning is actually conveyed by that paragraph previously. I'll read it out to you, but I wouldn't have to say what that nara means in that particular time. Now I would also put a disclaimer that this is written in Bengali, and
did you write it by yourself? Did you write it by yourself?
Yeah, I have written it by myself 2 or 3 days ago.
Wow, great.
So it's about lockdown. It's about lockdown and the situation that's going on. So we have an international audience here. So I would just be glad enough to explain. But of course, somebody who understands Bengali, and when I'm addressing to Saudha and so many Bengali people, so I'll take the privilege of doing this. So yeah, the poetry is called Baje Dhati Nara Baje. So Baje হাতি নাড়া বাজে বাক্সবন্দি সব ফেলনা ফন্দি বাক্সবন্দি সব ফেলনা ফন্দি মৃত্যু সমন সব কাজে বাক্সবন্দি all set in the boxes and all the manipulations that human beings had in their mind fondis are all phalna. They all went into the drain. And mrityu samon sob kaje. So there's a message of death in all the works that we had planned. বাক্সবন্দি সব ফেলনা ফন্দি মৃত্যু সমন সব কাজে মিউচুয়াল যন্ত্রণা রেসিপিতে সান্ত্বনা তবে আছে কোনো ভয়ের মাঝে mutual jantra means the collective pain that we are in, and we are all trying to sort it out through different types of recipes, and we're trying to cook every day and just trying to avoid the pain, but somewhere down the lane there is some fear somewhere in everybody's heart. So baksho bondi sob phelna fondi mrityu সমন সব কাজে মিউচুয়াল যন্ত্রণা রেসিপিতে সান্ত্বনা তবে আছে কোনো ভয়ের মাঝে বাজে ধাত্রী নাড়া বাজে বাজে ধাত্রী নাড়া বাজে ওদিকে ওদিকে দেখেছো কি উড়ছে পাখি ঝাঁক ফুটছে ফুল নির্মল বোঝে আকাশের ফাঁক তো ওদিকে দেখেছো কি উড়ছে পাখিদের ঝাঁক so there's a club of birds flying in the sky 40 full flowers seem very comfortable in coming up nowadays. Boje akasher phag, the ozone has started repairing itself. Porbot shikhare monikanchon shar chhera moroker daye manobik odhikar. So as human beings we have almost taken over the whole earth in this reason, or the reason of human rights. Everything happens, we say human rights and we take it on our thing. পর্বত শিখরে মণিকাঞ্চন সার ছেঁড়া মোড়কের দায়ে মানবিক অধিকার বৈশাখী বৃষ্টির রাতে ভাজে ভাজে বাজে আহা ধাতি নাড়া বাজে বাজে ধাতি নাড়া বাজে and the last paragraph গ্রহ নক্ষত্রের ভিড় জ্যোতিষীর মায়া there are so many people actually started predicting that in September things are going to change, this graha is going to change, this that. So গ্রহ নক্ষত্রের ভিড় জ্যোতিষীর মায়া সময়ের অট্টহাসি বলছে এরা বাপ আয়া. So basically time is the main master over here. তুমি আমি আমি তুমি আসি যাই এর মাঝে শুধু ধাতি নাড়া বাজে বাজে ধাতি নাড়া.
বাহ 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 বাহ.
That was my gift to Saudha. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Many thanks. Many thanks. What a beautiful gift.
খুব
Gratitude,
ভালো লাগলো রোহেন.
Love and gratitude to you, Rohen.
I
Beautifully
really
written.
hope even the non-Bengalis have understood it, because that's the main motive somewhere down the lane to write multilingual poetry, to just communicate with a larger audience.
One thing that I perhaps, well, let us see whether our panel members would like to add anything. Shumana?
No, good evening to everybody, and of course enjoyed your life story and very interesting upbringing. But you know what, you were very privileged and could try all the avenues before decided to becoming a tabla player. But God was smiling, Almighty was smiling from upstairs. You were born in this legendary musician's family for a reason. So he was definitely smiling from upstairs that, okay, try your avenues, but at the end, you are going to be a tabla player. So you have become one. No doubt about that. So very, very interesting. And I'm, attracted to your personality too, Rohen. So one request, can you play this, poetry, self-written poetry on your tabla?
Not
Is it
not yet, because no, not yet. I'm really sorry,
Not
because
yet?
I'll tell you why, how the things work. I'll play something else that I've written,
All
but
right.
I'll tell you how the things work. It's like we add a tabla bowl phonetic, which similarly sounds like that Bengali or Hindi word, which we need to a bit nurture that word with, and then we can find it. So I just written it 2 days ago, so I couldn't
All
find
right.
the word right now. But
next
yeah,
time would love to hear it, your Shorochito Kavita on tabla. Okay. Next
of
time.
course. And but I would like to say that I have actually done things, very silly things, because I think that good poetry, good art only happens when you're trying to do something very silly and you don't have any intention to do something great. So I would recite, I don't know, any of our panel members, did they have their birthday recently?
No.
Yeah.
Not yet. No.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Let's do. Perhaps
No.
We've got one coming up
Just imagine.
shortly. We have one coming up shortly.
Coming up for then okay, then it's for you. I'll just recite it to you, because this is what I had written. This is one of my first that I had written, and it was a gift to my uncle on his birthday, because I was really young and I didn't have any money to give him even a packet of sweet. So I wrote this for him, and it's something very personal. You will know why I'm saying it's very personal, because it's coming out from a musician's heart. From a musician's daily life. This is what we go through every day. There's a lot of accolades, there's a lot of money, glamour every day that we face, but somewhere down the lane, we are probably the most vulnerable people on this planet, because we know that everything is going wrong and we are conscious about it, and we can't do anything about it. So this is what makes us very vulnerable, and we have this constant struggle with this issue, and we probably never land up doing something, but somebody somewhere creates some sort of awareness for a little while, which maybe makes some difference. That's it, nothing more than that. So it says, koto din din, koto rat rat, so many days and so many nights, koto din din, koto rat rat, kete jay koto koto shoto prabhat. We have spent so many mornings, কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত, কিছু ধিক ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা. ধিক ধিনা is tabla bowl. So কিছু ধিক ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা, আর তেহাইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাধা. So mokam is where the tihai comes in, like starts. So we are trying to do something very consciously, and then finally we go on the stage and we'll end up doing nothing. And this is the same thing we are doing in the social front as well. We're trying to do so much of that, and nothing good is, or nothing effective is happening. So কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত, কিছু ধিক ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা, আর তিহাইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাধা. কাতা ধীরে ধীরে, কাতা ধীরে ধীরে, sorry, wait, I have never explained this in a way. So কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত, কিছু ধিক ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা, আর তিহাইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাদা. আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাতা ধীরে ধীরে, আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাতা ধীরে ধীরে, every time it returns, কাতা ধীরে ধীরে, সেই দিন ঘেনা তিন, বলা হোক সেই চেনা বল. So birthday is like, it brings back to that day when we actually wake up and write our goals. We'll have to have six-pack abs, we'll have to be sincere at our work, we'll have to do this. We make a to-do list, and then down the year we forget everything. Next birthday we again stick with that to-do list. So birthday is that day. So আসে ফিরে ফিরে কথা ধীরে ধীরে, সেই দিন ঘেনা দিন, বলা হোক সেই চেনা বল, প্রাণ ধীরে কথা দিন, শুভ জন্মদিন. So dha din din na na tin tin na chaka din din na, dha din na na tin tin na chaka din. কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত, কিছু ধিক ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা, তিয়াইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাদা আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাটা ধেরে দেবে আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাটা ধেরে দেবে I'm really sorry, I haven't practiced this.
No, no, no.
আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাটা ধেরে দেবে সেই দিন ঘেরাতে ওকে from the beginning কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত কিছু দিকে দিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা আর তিহাইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাদা আসে ফিরে ফিরে কাটা ধেরে দেবে এই দিন ঘেনাতিন বলা হোক সেই চেনা বল প্রাণ ধেরে কেটে দিন শুভ জন্মদিন দিন শুভ জন্মদিন ধেরে কেটে দিন শুভ জন্মদিন না দিন দিন so this goes in teen tal. And yeah, I had actually made an effort to play it to my uncle. So it goes this way. কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত কিছু দিন দিন সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা আর আর সময়ে sorry, I'm really sorry, I shouldn't be playing.
No, that's very interesting journey, very
So I'll just play it in a different way. কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কত দিন দিন কত রাত রাত কেটে যায় কত কত শত প্রভাত কত শত প্রভাত কিছু ধিকে ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা কিছু ধিকে ধিনার সাথে পাওয়া ব্যথা আর তিহাইয়ের খোঁজে মোকাম সাদা আসে ফিরে ফিরে ঘেনাতিন বলা হোক সেই চেনা বল প্রাণ ধেরে কেটে দিন শুভ জন্মদিন I used to play it, but I'm really sorry, I can't play it in the rhythm. I should have practiced.
That's fine, absolutely fine. I'm feeling little out of place today amongst all the panel members because all of you are great poets. I'm not.
I am not a poet.
I
I am not a poet.
Let us listen a bit from
I just wanted to add that Kamalji has just mentioned his birthday has just passed, so we can dedicate it to Kamalji.
Oh wow! Yeah, happy birthday!
Wow, Kamalji! Wow.
When was Kamalbir's birthday, please?
Yeah, just
Do you know
just
what day
days
it
ago.
was?
I think
It
just
was a few days ago.
No,
Just a few days ago.
no, I was
Yes.
just wondering which day, because I have so many friends who are Taurians, and Hannah is as well later.
Yeah, I am Taurian as well.
All right.
It was on 30th April. Yeah, I'm Taurian as well.
April. Yes.
Oh wow! So many people are having birthdays, but it's very unfortunate that we are all in lockdown. Nobody's doing anything in their birthday.
Yeah.
True.
I'd be interested what his birthday is. And Kaiser, you'd be interested to know, or it doesn't matter, but the great Greek film director, Theo Angelopoulos,
Mm-hmm.
who I met and spoke with just a little bit, his birthday was the 27th of April. Just went by.
Oh, right.
And can I just say, Rohan,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I had to go to the other room. I had a phone call from somebody, but after that was finished, I did some things in the kitchen, but I could hear you speaking. And it was interesting you talking about your Gharana and your how you took from different generations, different elements for your tabla playing, because I as well wanted to be a filmmaker. I've done some documentary stuff, but still. But my main instrument that nobody at Saudha has ever seen me play.
Drum.
I'm a jazz drummer.
Exactly.
Oh wow! Okay.
Old style, and it's so strange in the West because I shan't give you too much, history. But when I was a child, 11, my family moved to Indonesia, and I lived in the middle of the jungle for 5.5 years. But there, I heard some jazz records and just went crazy and I was just impassioned by the drums. And I would just take pencils and hit on anything. And then there was a drum kit that was for sale in that village in the middle of the Sumatran rainforest. Somebody had one. Beautiful Ludwig drum kit, which is still my main kit. And in the West, it's different. We don't have schools in the way that you do. And so it's a thing of attraction when you come across somebody. And two of my greatest teachers died decades before I was born. But there is a family still, like you have. I was influenced, first of all, with the root of my influence was somebody called Baby Dodds, who was a black drummer from New Orleans who went up to Chicago in the 1920s. And then he was the teacher of three white drummers, Gene Krupa, who became the most famous one, Dave Tuff, and George Wetling. And I was influenced by all four of those, probably more than anybody else. And what's interesting is the three white drummers who studied with Baby Dodds, they all took his music in a slightly different direction. Each of them had different nuance. Gene Krupa was much more a showman and flamboyant, and I'm sure you know tabla players like that. And the others were Dave Tuff, never took a solo or hated to take solos, but he was always totally supportive of the musicians, and you can feel the music rising even when you can't hear him in the records. There's this animal sort of quality that's shaping it without being heard that much. And then George Wetling was in between the two. And then I took things from all three. So that's what you were saying is like my experience, except I didn't have them in my family.
One thing I also would like to add, Rohen, I and Eric have quite common interest in film. I came from film society movement, and then when I met Eric first, I was so immersed in poetic film, especially Ingmar Bergman. I was talking about Ingmar Bergman with huge spirit to him, and then he said his father worked with Ingmar Bergman. Have you watched anything by Ingmar Bergman?
No. He
Of
didn't.
course.
Oh, I class him as God. I mean, you mentioned about Kubrick, but mainly Tarkovsky, Bresso, and Kurosawa, obviously, of course, Kurosawa, but Ingmar Bergman. We class these people as God of cinema, God of world cinema. Sorry,
They are, by the way. They are. Kubrick is more of an American dialect to cinema. Yeah. But
True.
that's what I'm actually like. Great that you actually said this. This is what I always insist upon, that we don't categorize as far as cinema is concerned as this is cinema or this is good cinema and that is not good cinema or bad cinema. If we consider, we are always watching Mani Ratnam and Satyajit Ray parallelly in India, but we don't categorize it. We don't say that Satyajit Ray's cinema is the only language of cinema. We don't do that. But when
True.
it comes to music or any particular instrument, we say, this is the only tradition and this is the only way you should play it. Which shouldn't happen. An instrument is just an individual instrument. It may be applied to some traditional form, but
True.
it can also be applied to any other form in any other way, which has recently, which has started in a very massive level due to social media, and we come to know, maybe it was there before as well, we didn't know about it, but recently there are people who are playing and applying tabla in a very different level, and different intellectual level, probably, to put it well. There's a whole lot of game going on as far as tabla is concerned in Pakistan.
True.
Now we can have personal preferences that I like that, I don't like this. This is not what I'm going to do. This is not what I prefer to do. Great, but I think there has to be this wideness as far as anything is concerned in art, that people can pursue it and let it just flow.
True.
Whether it gets accepted or not accepted, we are nobody, because we don't know what's going to get accepted. There are so many forms of art, pieces of art which was not accepted in its time. So we don't know what we are doing right now is probably not even like for this time.
Yes.
So it's
Rohen,
okay.
yes, we will continue this discussion perhaps, but let us do a bit of performance perhaps for our audiences who are
So I
waiting.
will play a very traditional qaida of Benares, because I
Great.
have been speaking all contemporarizing things, and now Benares people will all kill me. So it's better that I do something traditional that I've learned from my guru.
Right. Thank
And
you.
this is a very traditional composition, very famous one of Benares Gharana. Probably all the maestros of this Gharana has played it. But as I said, Benares Gharana has been very wide and progressive about interpretations. In each generation, there have been 3-4 maestros playing one composition in several other ways. And people accepted it, which is a great thing. So I don't know how good I am at this composition, but just in the memory of such legends who have actually gifted us this tradition. It said, Dhikadhina, Trekadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina, Dhikadhina, Trekadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina, Dhikadhina, Trekadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina, Dhikadhina, Trekadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina, Trekadhina, Dhagina, Dhikadhina. Thank you.
Wow.
Jasmine?
Rohan, আমি জানি না তোমার মনে আছে কিনা, you were very young at that time when your uncle has composed a drama kind of thing, and he has presented that in Rabindra Sadan or Kala Mandir. You were very young at that time. একটা ছোট্ট নাটক উনি পুরো তবলা দিয়ে করলেন, along with his students and your father and your uncle they were also there. They were playing along with this. তোমার কি মনে আছে ওটা? একটা পুরো নাটক, একটা পুরো ড্রামা।
একদম মনে আছে, এবং আমি সেরকমই একটা কিছু করতে চাইছি। আমার সেটা স্বপ্ন একটা, যে আমি একটা প্লে লিখবো এবং সেটার উপর কাজ চলছে। So I am apparently working on a play which is about this particular language, where you have amalgamated Bengali and Tabla language, and then there's a debate between two characters.
Yes,
and
yes,
something like that. So he had done exactly his work. That particular work has been a great great inspiration, because that particular work was based on pure Indian classical rhythms and rhythm syllables, but the play was a political satire, which was a great idea. But when we are actually, when we are talking about tradition is like a language or like a format. You shouldn't be changing that language. What I am I'm not telling you to change is the idea of the content. So I can propose somebody through a language, and I can also hate somebody through a language. The language is not distorted. It's just the content that's changed in both the cases. So this is what I'm trying to say.
So Rohan, let us have a bit of poetry, and then let us see what our audiences are saying. But personally, after, if you just listen to this poem, I would like to see how you process the word of the verses, and then you develop your own language when you reflect this through tabla, through the sound of tabla. This process would be very interesting, I think. So let us listen from Jasmine Chaudhary.
Okay. At Night on the High Seas by Hermann Hesse. At night on the sea, at night when the sea cradles me, and the pale star glim lies down on its broad waves, then I free myself wholly from all activity and all the love, and stand silent and breathe purely, alone cradled by the sea that lies there, cold and silent, with 1,000 lights. Then I have to think of my friends, and my gaze sinks into their gazes, and I ask each one, silent, alone, are you still mine? Is my sorrow a sorrow to you, my death a death? Do you feel from my love, my grief, just a breath, just an echo? And the sea peacefully gazes back, silent, and miles no, and smiles no, and no greeting and now answers comes from anywhere. Thank you.
Perhaps if you could explain now briefly how you process those information, and when you listen in a poetry and develop your own language, when you play and reflect those words on tabla. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to connect what, I mean, if you can't remember, because this is very hard to remember the words, you can choose your own example, perhaps.
I can of course, but I'll tell you, there's a technical problem that this tabla language goes very well with any Indian language. I have tried it with English, but it doesn't suit suit the dialect probably. I shouldn't be complaining because maybe I haven't tried hard, but it didn't match. So, but it's a beautiful poetry, you know.
Herman Hesse is a Nobel laureate novelist and a poet, but mainly he's a novelist. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just keep this in my mind and we can go on with the conversation and then I'll come back.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Let us see what our audiences are saying. Mitul?
Yes, sure. Rashmi Bhatt, who is watching from Rome, Italy, said,
Rome, many thanks.
Yeah,
Wow, great.
from the Roman ruins park in central Rome, while jogging, I enjoyed this fine discussion. Thank you guys for this treat. Here in Italy, I have World Art Rhythm Festival, which I art direct.
Wow, many thanks. Please keep watching and please share. And we are connected. Look, human beings are so connected, so closely connected. You can't get away from this human chain, human bonding. Many thanks.
Then Sandeep Sharma, great. Rupa Mishra, hi all. Kamalveer Singh ji, sorry, he has written, he's still very young, but his playing has matured nicely.
Great, it's true.
That's all I have got for now.
Very good, very good. So those who are watching this, please, this again a request, please share. What Sanjay actually was trying to indicate, I think, about another, this is quite interesting as well. I mean, drama piece has been developed through the sound of Tabla, which is very interesting. I mean, Tabla has developed its own language. So this is now, there is no any doubt at all. Like all other art form, when you watch cinema, the cinema has its own language. When you watch plays, then it has, again, its distinct language. So Tabla has developed its own language that you can interpret drama through the sound. You can interpret perhaps poetry. Mainly, did you mean Indian poetry? Did you mean Hindi poetry, not English or Bengali? Did you mean, when you said Indian?
No, I said this language, this amalgamation of both the languages was easier for me as far as Indian languages are concerned, like Hindi and Bengali, which I am, comfortable with. Of course, I don't know if it goes well with Tamil or Kannada because I don't know them. But
let's try with perhaps Hindi or Bengali just to see how you.
Yeah, I just had two lines came into my mind. Two lines stayed with me with that poetry, and I could just say something like this, that সমুদ্রের আনন্দ দেখি কতই না কথা আসে, তার তো শুধু মুক্ত হাসি, কি বা যায় আসে. So there was actually a line in that poetry which said, the poet sits in front of the sea and talks a lot, but it doesn't reply. So if I got to play this in tabla, I can play this way: সমুদ্রের আনন্দ দেখি. তো সমুদ্রের আনন্দ দেখি, কতই না সমুদ্রের আনন্দ দেখি, কতই না কথা আসে. তো কতই না কথা আসে, তার শুধু মুক্ত হাসি, তার শুধু মুক্ত হাসি, কি বা যায় আসে. So we could actually play Bengali syllables like that.
So the things that also quite interest me, quite attracts me, when you develop any compositions in Tabla, first of all, I mean, tabla is mostly liable to its laya. You have to follow certain laya, and laya is, I mean, the main, perhaps the predominant attention when you develop your composition. But according to the language of poetry, do you have to change the emphasis? Say, for example, when you say ananda, do you put a bit harder sound to express anand? And when you say silent, do you have to do develop the sound silently?
No. It all depends on the phonetics of the word in that way. Now,
you
the
don't have
phonetic,
to.
yeah, the phonetic, like I said, ki anand dekhi. So anand. Now, if the poetry demands that word to be spoken loudly, then I'll play the same syllable loudly, or I'll play the same syllable a bit softly. But the whole interpretation depends on the phonetics of the sound of that word, which is a tougher deal. Yeah. That's what we take time for, to find out another syllable of tabla which is similar to that phonetic.
Yeah. So
Rohan,
this is the main interest. Yeah, go on, please.
Yeah, Rohan, if you could remember one composition by Pandit ji, Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, Khete Khute Kada Ghete, Nordomai Pore Ki Ghenna. Have you heard this one by Pandit ji, Pandit Ravi Shankar? Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, right. Okay, right. It was his composition. Yeah.
But we have been doing this fun all the while. You know, there's a bowl called Dhere Dhere Kititak, Dhere Dhere Kititak, Dhere Dhere Kititak, and we would say Dhor Dhor Kite Phal, Dhor Dhor Kite Phal, Dhor Dhor Kite Phal.
Yeah.
It sounds similar. And then we would say, you know, Dha Dinna, Gandhi Jinna. So it sounds similar. So this is where
what I have noticed. Yeah. But what I have noticed in that drama, where what Acharya Jayanto Bose has composed, the anger, the passion, the love, everything was there, and he has created he has used the bowls. It was, absolutely amazing. We were just blown away with that. What a beautiful concept. I have never heard it before.
And something that's amazing that he had done is he actually found out tabla syllables which also had a meaning in Bengali language. Like this nara that I'm talking about, nara has a meaning in Hindi. So like that, he did that. There's a guy who comes in and challenges a politician and says, Tinana Tinana Kena, Tinana Tinana Kena. So, Tinana Tinana Kena means Tinana Tinana Kena. You are bought in 3 pennies.
Oh, right.
Tinana Tinana Kena is a tabla bowl. Tinana Tinana Kena.
Right.
Which is an amazing job that he did in that work of it.
Shumana, would you like to, seemingly you were trying to share?
No, I'm just wondering that, just one question to you. Rohen, sorry, before I begin, is it Rohen or Rohan? Please correct me.
It's Rohen. My father
Rohen, yes, it's Rohen. Yes, okay.
I think there's a German word which pronounces as Rohen, and that became Rohen somehow in India.
Right. Okay. So Rohen, do you feel pressurized or a little always thinking about that what to do still now, being born in this legendary family of musicians? Do you feel pressurized in any way that you have to prove yourself, you have to do this, you have to carry on the legacy? Do you feel pressurized in any way?
Yeah, I feel, but I would also say that my parents or my guru, they have never actually thrown that at me, and probably they are the least pressurized people themselves, because my guru had told me something. He had this 3 or 4 lessons that he told me when I actually went and told him that I'm going to take tabla playing professionally. So there are one or two things that are very important. He said that you shouldn't be thinking of yourself as a representative of Banaras, because you are not a Banarasi, which is a very gray area though. But he said,
Who
you
said it?
are
Who
not
said it? Who said it,
my
Rohen? Is that
my uncle and guru. He said
only?
that yeah,
Is it
Pandit
Kumar
Kumar
Bushti?
believes it.
Kumar Bushti,
Yeah,
right?
he said, and he said that he believes it, and he actually believes it. He says it on stage. He says that uh, these Banarasi people, they have researched and come up with this collection of information, which we call it a Gharana. And having that in us, we are doing so much in this world. So we got to be really grateful to those people that they had they had done it. So we can't be a representative to that lineage. We are just followers who go play and just popularize, or just spread the information for people, but we are not the representative. And he told me that don't ever think of yourself as a representative. You're just a follower. You're here to spread the Gharana. You're not the representative of the Gharana. That was lesson one. Lesson two that he told me, which is in this context, he said, never make music so serious. It doesn't matter if you don't play well. What matters is you go up on stage, have fun, and come down. Because even if you're playing very
Wow.
well, in expectation of something that may come to you or may not. If it's money, I can't guarantee you that you're going to get a lot of money if you're playing well. So why expect? The only expectation or the theory that you should have is you should have fun while doing this job. If you're having
Right.
it, whatever standard you're playing is fantastic. So go
Did
ahead.
Kumar Bushti say? Did Kumar Bushti
Yeah,
say
yeah,
this?
yeah.
Wow,
He
what a
said that.
Very logical thought.
brilliant,
Yeah, so he
brilliant.
said that,
Hmm.
and I always, I see him every day playing, and I realize that he's actually having fun, and that's the only thing that he's actually doing intentionally. He's just having fun by playing tabla, because the rest of the things are not in control. So we can't really bother about that. But yeah, sometimes I really feel pressured. Sometimes in some performances I felt pressured, but my family has been a great support, because they have always insisted upon this point that you should have fun and don't feel the pressure, don't feel the social pressure. If it's good, don't be proud, and if it's bad, don't feel the pressure. Neither of that.
Wow.
So this is a message to all of the performers through you. It is just a message to all of the performers, those who are listening and those who will listen to this one. This is very important, because this emotional,
True.
high, low things, it might happen to every performers, So yeah, this is very important. Wonderful, Rohen. What you said.
Life is full of ups and downs, isn't it, Sanjoy? Full of
Mhm.
Yeah,
ups and
yeah,
downs. You have
absolutely.
to know
Absolutely.
how to cope with ups as well, and you have to know how to cope with your downs as well. So
Exactly.
that's
Yeah,
the
but then
biggest learning in a life.
human beings are a great adaptive creatures, because
Yes,
when
true.
we had this lockdown initially, even I thought, like
Hmm.
even I thought that what's going to happen? How am I going to conduct classes? How am I going to have concerts? What's going to happen? What's about my mobile EMI? And how am I going to conduct that? In a very basic and practical level.
Right, right,
But it's
absolutely.
so beautiful to see that we have actually collectively managed the whole thing, and we are doing everything that we used to do.
Right.
So
True.
whatever comes, people will anyway find their way out.
Exactly.
Exactly. Is it possible, Rohan? I will come back to you. Let us see what Eric has for us now. Poetry. Eric?
Can I just
There you
ask
go.
one thing to Eric?
Yeah.
Why your name is saying Eric?
No, this is.
Because the friend of mine who made my PC for me very kindly. He works for the prisons here, but I only know him socially. But he had lots of spare parts, and he built me a computer for
No,
free.
I have done it. I've corrected it, Eric. So that's done.
You've
Please
what?
go on with your. I've corrected your name there. So let us.
Okay.
Yeah, let us go on.
But
Yeah.
what he did is when he formatted my computer, he put me down as EVIK because it stands for Eric the Viking.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because all of my blood family, comes from Sweden, so we're Vikings.
Mhm.
There are a couple of poems. Yeah, and when Kaiser, when I get a decent microphone,
Mhm.
never mind a camera, because this this is the quality of 1990s Super Mario, the picture that's coming across of me. But mainly the sound. Sometime I may play snare drum and show you some of what I can do. I need to practice, but I also
I'll be really glad. And
I
I'm
would.
looking forward.
Oh, thank you. I would need to get a decent microphone because otherwise it would sound terrible, and I might deafen you as well with bad sound.
But the microphone is absolutely fine, Eric.
Is it?
Yeah, you don't need to hold it. I don't think you need to hold it. Yeah, it's
do.
coming fine.
I
Is
do
it?
because.
Okay.
What's this? Is this okay? Can you hear
No,
me?
you have to. You please do.
You see, I have
to,
to.
Eric.
No,
Right,
Kaiser
right,
told me
right.
earlier. So anyway, okay, there are 3 poems. One very short, a medium, and a long one. And this is one I used to read at Saudha concerts. I haven't read it for a long time, but it seems appropriate. It's by Hafiz,
Lovely.
and it's called The Happy Virus. Different from what we have at the moment. It's very short, and it says, I caught the happy virus last night when I was out singing beneath the stars. It is remarkably contagious, so kiss me. That's Hafiz. Maybe I'll do the longer one and then a short one by Teko.
Yeah.
This is by, I don't know if he's American or British, but it's about a man who's a bit ill, but still carrying on. You know the brick path in back of the house? The one you see from the kitchen window? The one that bends around the far end of the garden where all the yellow primroses are? And you know how if you leave the path and walk up into the woods, you come to a heap of rocks, probably pushed down during the horrors of the Ice Age, and a grove of tall hemlocks, dark green now, against the light brown fallen leaves. And farther on, you know the small footbridge with a broken railing, and if you go beyond that, you arrive at the bottom of that Sheep's Head Hill. Well, if you start climbing, and you might have to grab hold of a sapling when the going gets steep, you'll eventually come to a long stone ridge with a border of pine trees, which is as high as you can go, and a good enough place to stop. The best time is late afternoon, when the sun strobes through Sorry, it's killed vision. Mon Dieu. I'll carry on without sound, without vision. When the sun strobes through the columns of trees as you are hiking up, and when you find an agreeable rock to sit on, you will be able to see the light pouring down into the woods and breaking into the shapes and tones of things. And you will hear nothing but a sprig of birdsong, or the leafy falling of a cone or nut through the trees. And if this is your day, you might even spot a hare or feel the wing beats of geese driving overhead toward some destination. But it is hard to speak of these things, how the voices of light enter the body and begin to recite their stories, how the earth holds us painfully against its breast made of humus and brambles, how we who will soon be gone, who will soon be gone, regard the entities that continue to return greener than ever. Spring water flowing through a meadow and the shadows of clouds, passing over the hills and the ground where we stand in the tremble of thought, taking the vast outside into ourselves. Still, let me know before you set out. Come, knock on my door, and I will walk with you as far as the garden. With one hand on your shoulder, I will even watch after you and not turn back to the house until you disappear into the crowd of maple and ash, heading up toward the hill, piercing the ground with your stick. That's a poem by Billy Collins. Was that somebody's dog, or was it something?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, good.
fantastic, Eric.
Thank you.
Great, simply great. Let us perhaps, is it possible, Mithul, to read some comments from audiences?
Yes,
Actually,
absolutely.
Eric has got a so nice voice. Whatever he reads, it sounds very poetic.
Thank you.
Poetry comes out of it.
Maybe it'd be
Very
because
nice.
it's poetry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Khandakar Mehrun Nahar Ashadharan Darun. Just to let you know, Rajvinder Kaur is watching with us.
Rajvinder is singing ghazal on Sunday, 4 p.m. as part of this concert series. So Rajvinder is one of the top contestants of Saregama-pa, the national Saregama-pa, a wonderful ghazal singer appearing to the world scene, world cultural scene. And she's singing ghazal as part of the series on Sunday. So as part of the series, actually, we are featuring this weekend some emerging maestros that include Rohen this Friday, tomorrow, Shahid Parviz's son, another emerging maestro coming to the world scene, Shakir Khan is performing sitar. You know him his dad is simply a legendary sitar player. And then
I know him too. He's a fantastic big brother, and we have hung out a lot.
please, yeah,
Apart from
Rohan,
his music, of course.
please watch it tomorrow. Watch it tomorrow if you're
Surely.
free. And
Surely,
then
I
day
would.
after tomorrow, I'm so delighted to feature another wonderful ghazal singer coming to appearing in global cultural scene, Rajvinder Singh. Many thanks, Rajvinder Singh, for watching it, and look forward on Sunday's session.
Okay,
Mithul?
then Sharnali Mukta Roy, Darun Darun ki bhalo lagche.
Shonali,
Anirban,
many thanks. Shonali is a singer as well. She's watching from Canada. Many thanks for watching.
অনির্বাণ সরকার খুব সুন্দর রোহেনদা Rashmi Bhatt, beautiful discussion, a good healthy intellectual exchange. Kamalveer Singh ji, it was pleasuring listening to the interview and tabla along with poetry. I need to go now. Have a great time. Bye to all.
Many thanks, Kamalveer ji. Look forward for tomorrow and day after tomorrow's session.
Anirban is a friend, and he's a wonderful designer actually. And I just saw Siddharth Avdut has mentioned me. I'm really glad he's watching. He's a friend and a Guru Bhai from Pune. I think we
Wow.
have a global audience.
Yes,
Wonderful.
exactly. So many thanks to those who are watching. So please share it and let others know. What are you playing? What are you planning to play, Rohen, now for our audience?
To end it, like is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
I would play a very famous and signature Bart. This composition is called a Bart, and the feature of a Bart is used to establish a particular rhythmic what do you call rhythmic syncopation or chand, as we call in our language. Syncopation is the English word of chand, and it is used to establish, and then we play a more complicated syllable in that rhythm, which has already been established through a simple composition, which is called Bard. So this Bard is a signature composition of Banaras Gharana, and again there have been all the maestros who have played this Bard in their own respective ways, and they have played several other relas, which is a more complicated composition on this Bard as the more complicated rhythmic composition on that. So I will play a very traditional composition, or a rela row more particularly on this, but initially I will establish the rhythm by playing that famous Bard, which goes this way. I'll just check if I'm in tune. I hope it sounds well. So the Bard goes धाड़ ताधे टेते धाड़ धाड़ ताते नते नाड़ ताड़ ताते टेते ताड़ ताड़ ताधे नते नाड़ धाड़ 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 ताते नते नाड़ कते टेते ताड़ धाड़ ताते नते नाड़ धाड़ ताते टेते ताड़ ताधे टेते धाड़ धाड़ ताते टेते ताड़ ताड़ ताते नाड़ ताड़ ताते टेते ताड़ कते टेते ताड़ धाड़ ताते टेते ताड़ धाड़ ताते नते नाड़ धाड़ 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 Thank you.
Just a short poem from Rumi. In the house of lovers, the music never stops. In the house of lovers, the music never stops. The walls are made of songs and the floor dances. Thank you.
Many thanks, Rohen. Anyone would like to ask anything in this stage? I would like to ask you something else actually. And now,
Yeah,
anyone?
Rohen, as far I could remember, what did you used to call to Nani's mom? Your Nani's mom?
Hammanani.
Yes. As far I could remember, she has learned Awa Kaka from Tagore himself, Rabindranath Tagore.
Exactly. Yeah. In
Uh,
Shantiniketan.
yeah, in Shantiniketan. I have heard this, that just to tell all of the, panel members and also to Kaishar Bhai, just
His Nani's mom.
mom. Yeah,
Rohen's
Thamma
Nani's
mom.
mom.
What you used to call Rohan once again?
Hammanani. Like he was,
Great
yeah.
grandfather, great grandmother.
Great grandmother maternal.
From maternal side, learned
from Tagore himself.
Oh, Tagore himself. Oh, great.
And she told me this. I mean, wonderful. That's absolutely. She has learned Awa Kaka from Tagore himself. My God.
Tagore himself. Wow.
So yeah,
Great.
and they're absolutely.
Anyone would like to add anything? Ask anything, Shobana?
No. I'm just, I'm not, sure what to ask, because I can clearly see that staying in this Gharana, you are trying to create your own style and a unique presentation. So that's a very difficult thing to do, actually, because you are always constantly learning in that environment, and it's very difficult to create your own. And you are trying to do that. So, many best wishes for doing it.
Thank you, ma'am. But
definitely you will be successful in that.
No doubt about it. I'm actually not trying to do something new or something of my own, because I don't think that it's possibly a good idea to do something new or make something of your own. If it happens, it's a great thing.
Aren't you creating your own style, unique style? Keeping the same thing.
I am just responding to my own instinct. Yes. And if that allows things to land up being something great and something new, and people come and tell me and give me a lot of money, I'll have burgers and have fun with that.
As an audience, I can clearly see that, because I have had the privilege to watch your uncle perform. Kumar Bose ke ami perform korte dekhechi Dovelene. So I can clearly see that you have got a unique style of your own. So kudos to that.
Thank you so much.
Rohen, just the next question. Just the as a young professional, Tabla professional, this is important to find out your own approach on whether you believe, especially Tabla, art form in general, any art, but because you're doing Tabla in a so passionately, is this benefiting the mankind or society?
So I would say that it depends on the person who's practicing that form of art, or possibly anything existing in this world. If I have a lot of money and I just enjoy it sitting at home, that money is of no benefit to mankind. But if I open a business and give job opportunities to 10 people, that same money becomes benefiting to the mankind. But we can't be actually telling that doing business is benefiting, because it depends on the person who is doing. Same way, any form of art. But as I said, that being an artist is a very strange position. I have always wondered, and I have thought that, if all the music in this world just stopped in a moment, would there be any difference? What a difference
Exactly,
would
exactly.
that
That is the
make?
quest now. Say
But
for
at the
instance,
same time, I have seen governments being changed only by the words of intellectuals and artists. Let the let the notion or the decision because
Hello, Rohen.
Can't hear you, Rohen. Can't hear you.
It's a signal problem.
Perhaps signal problem. Rohen, can you hear us? If you looks like you are.
influence over their
Yes.
notions. So
Right.
I still oscillate between these two thoughts, that what if everything stops? Would it make? What if Pandit Ravi Shankar was not born? Would that make a bit difference in global warming?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
right?
What your approach? If, for an example, like you said, if for an example, Ravi Shankar ji wasn't born, would the world be different place? Or say, for instance, now.
I think it's not about what that person does. It's about what that person uh, does with that thing that he has achieved through that form of art. Ravi Shankar's social contribution is not by playing Purvi.
We have lost you again.
And therefore, I am sitting here and doing a live with an organization of London. This is happening today because of him. So this is his
So
contribution.
there is no doubt about it. But what I was trying to, I mean, this is a question perhaps seated in everyone's heart now. Say, for instance, now with this COVID and coronavirus, people are looking at scientists. People are looking at whether scientists are making any vaccine against this virus. So the whole world looks at them because uh, they are some way benefiting the whole mankind. So as a young professional, do you think that art is serving in some way, or do you, when you play, when you start your journey in mankind, journey in art, did you have any, did you see any relation between with the benefit of human being
Finances to help people
through the service of art?
through their art form, they are generating money. Through their art form, they have been a great motivation. There have been millions of musical contents uploaded in social media post lockdown, which has been a great inspiration, great motivation. When I see that I don't know how to manage my EMIs, but there is somebody like me playing some music, good, bad, whatever standard, but being happy, somewhere I feel comfortable about my state. I say, okay, if he's fine, maybe I'll be fine tomorrow. So that's quite a thing, even in today's time. So it's not necessarily that somebody will really come and make a vaccine. What about the time that we are going through? We need motivation. We don't only need vaccines.
Many thanks, Rohen. That is the answer that I was looking for, actually. First of all, when you started, you said, your uncle said, do it for fun. And when someone listens to this, they get huge pleasure. And then that helps them to stay away from mental health issues when they're in depression, when they're in we are in such a critical world. So many crises happens in our inner soul. And perhaps this time, people are relating art form with the benefit or a human being more than any other time, actually, because people,
Yeah.
when they're locked down, they're listening music. I mean, with this, say for instance, with this session, so many people are watching it.
There's a big debate on this. You know, we always had this debate in college that scientists invent necessary things. Commerce people market it and generate money. What does the humanities people do?
Exactly.
And I always wondered, yeah, exactly. What does the humanities people do?
Exactly.
Write poetry about that. But the point is, none of that would have happened if the humanities, that person would have not felt and been conscious about that awareness or the whole existence, and raised a question to which the answer is that invention and that marketing and everything.
Right.
That question is our job to ask that question. And therefore I always insist that artists should be socially aware, politically aware.
Exactly.
It's up to you if you comment or you don't comment, you opine on something. If you don't opine, it's okay, but you need to be socially aware, because that's the primary job of an artist, to
Yeah,
ask
your
questions.
protest might be different than others. Your protest
Yeah,
might
I
be
think
different than others, but yeah, please, Jasmine, please carry on.
I think fascinating discussion, Rohinda. I just wanted to say it's been really fascinating listening to you about kind of the expectations because of your legendary ancestry and the family history. I think throughout sort of the history of human civilization, it's been proven again and again how art and music, poetry is a powerful source of societal change, social change, political activism. And I think what was really interesting from the way you were talking about your research and the work you're doing, is quite often I think we don't make that connection between the emotional impact music, art, and poetry has on our well-being, and we don't connect that intellectually to what it's doing, what kind of impact it's having to our awareness, or how is it making us feel that this is the kind of society we want to live in? How does it impact on our attitude to the environment or global warming, those kind of issues? So how important is it to you to make those connections intellectually to the changes that you would like to see in the world as an individual? I think is
I think it's
what
the
I wanted
most
to ask.
important thing. I think it's more important. It's the most important thing. It's rather more important than playing a composition in a correct way, because playing a composition in a correct way actually has to be done to make that connection. If you don't connect and you play that composition correctly, it doesn't really have anything to do. It's all waste of time. So making that connection, whatever connection, if the good, bad, any sort of notion, we are nobody to judge, of course. So I wouldn't judge, but a connection to the people who you are catering to, who have actually done all his job all day, worked as hell, and then paid 100 rupee for that ticket and come to you to do what? To have a nice feeling for that 1 hour or 2 hours. And if I just sit there unaware of whatever is happening in this world, unaware of that man's story, it doesn't make any sense. My form of art has no validity, if that's the case. And I am quite sure this is not why this form of art was created. If I am doing it, it's my personal prerogative. But it was always made for a connect. It has to got a connect. If it doesn't, it may connect, it may have a cultural identity, particular cultural identity. So it may connect more to Banarasi people. It may connect more to some indigenous community. But it got to have some connect with people. If it's not there, any form of art would firstly have no validity, and secondly would not strive for so many years.
But did you try to, I mean, through your performances, did you dream even? Did you, obviously, I think you have, to expand the network of Indian classical, audience of Indian classical music, because still now, Indian classical music is limited within certain network. And I mean, your idea was revolutionary because you try to contemporize the issues so that anyone, especially the audience of this time, can connect with your compositions. So, I mean, did you even have any intention or dream to expand this network through your performance?
Yeah, I
Perhaps
have.
collaboration,
Yeah,
perhaps through
I
collaboration.
wouldn't say with full of conviction that I have done it, but I of course have a dream of doing it. I am not the only one. There have been people in earlier generations who have also done it. So I'm not naming because there are lots of names. So, we can't be like wasting time naming people. There have been lots of names who have actually gone out of repeatedly. I would say that I don't like to mention this thing as breaking boundaries or breaking traditions. It's about pushing the boundaries. It's not about because you can't really if you are
True.
conscious about only a particular group of people, then that awareness or that concentration also has no value, because you got to be conscious about the whole existence, not a particular thing, particular indigenous community. So it's again the same thing. It's like being too nationalistic and becoming very aware about only your country. You're a part of the whole existence, right? So we all are trying to do that. Even I am trying to do that as a very tiny part of our fraternity. I think our generation is doing really good, and a blessing and a blessing in this concern, I would say. I think it got instigated, or it got a bit uh, faster by this lockdown. The introduction of social media in Indian classical music, it wasn't there to that extent before. But with lockdown, there have been like almost everybody has come up to social media with their performances, with their pieces of music. And I think this way, we can actually grow in a wider way.
Have you done
This is
any
a blessing.
meaningful collaboration so far, Rohen? I know
Yeah.
that you would in future because of your interest, because you've such a omnivorous interest in collaborating and taking this music to farther stage. But have you done so far any
Yeah,
meaningful?
I have done something very interesting this year. I didn't really thought that I'll finally materialize it. Uh, I have this band with my sister Mahiri Bose. So we have this project through which we make music, Rohen Mahiri project. And we had a friend in Dhaka, Prithviraj, who was at that time a very popular music programmer and composer, and he was doing a job in ABC radio. So just a night talk with him, and I and my sister, we just told him that we were just trying to do something on 21st February, and as I'm very much attached to the language Bengali, because I think this would be very biased, but there are things that I can't express in any other language that I can do in Bengali. But what to do? I think everybody's got that with their personal dialects. So I was just asking him, and he said, "Okay, you think of something. You don't worry, I'll materialize it." So we made a song, and for the first time, 10 singers from Dhaka and 10 singers from Calcutta. Sorry, 8 singers from Dhaka and 8 singers from Calcutta have sung one song, and we released it on 21st February. The song was about Bengali language, and this is where we are all united. There's no boundaries. Just a line shown by somebody someday, but
Who has
it
composed,
doesn't.
Rohan? Who has
It's
composed
a
the song?
composition by my sister. It's a composition by my sister, Mahiri
And
Bose.
the lyrics?
Lyrics and the tune is by her.
Oh, all right.
Both are by her, and the
she's the
programming
daughter
has been
of
done by
Acharya
Jayantu
Bose.
Bose.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. So
And who's
she had
the
done that.
and who's the artist
Sorry?
from Dhaka? Who is the artist from Dhaka?
Prithviraj. But we are really unfortunate that we lost him through the process. He left us. He's not in the world right now, and we had planned to dedicate this song to both of our favorites, to Mujibur Rahman Sahib and Netaji Subhash Chandra. We had done that, but we have actually specially mentioned Prithviraj because he's the person who has actually made our dream possible. So this song is available in YouTube. It's called Hello. There's a net.
Hello, yeah, we can hear. We can hear. That's
We can
yeah.
hear you.
We can hear you, Rohen.
It's back. It's back. Oh, suddenly the screen went out. Yeah. So this song is called Amra Je Ek Bangla Bhashaye. Amra Shobai Ek Bangla Bhashaye. So it's about the language, and 8 people from Bangladesh and 8 people from Calcutta has sung one song first time in the history of Bengali music.
Great.
So
Great. So we would like to see you. We would like to see you taking lead in those groundbreaking projects in future. Let us perhaps read some audience's comments and see what they're trying to tell us.
Yeah, Abhrabhomik, interesting discussion.
Many thanks, Abhrabhomik. Abhrabhomik himself is a singer, a concert organizer, and IT professional. Many thanks. A very good friend of us.
Then Rashmi Bhatt, a surprisingly intelligent tabla player. All my esteem to this.
How nice.
Right. And she's from Room. She's from Room, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anju Bhasin listening. Amitananda Rai, I am also here. That's what I've got for now.
So many thanks those who are watching. Has anyone had anything to ask? I have my last question to Rohen. If anyone has anything.
Can I ask one question?
Yep.
Rohen, what is your dream stage? Is it performing with your dad and with your uncle, sharing the same stage with both of them in a big concert? Have you done that in recent past?
Yeah, I have done that. But my dream has never been, my father has brought me up in a very different way. I have strange dreams. My dreams are never related to my work because I never think that there's a notion. I don't know whether I should say this, but there are people who say that music is life, or poetry is life, cinema is life. I think these are not life. This is just a part of life. This is not at least not my life. It's a part of my life, and I'm just trying to express my life through this. So my dreams are not really about tabla or performance. I would like to be someone who really makes a difference or matters to the society at the end of my life.
Right.
If I don't know how, I don't know how I'm going to do this, or probably I don't know even that you can do it or not. I think it happens. So if I really land up there someday, I think I'll be happy, and probably my father will be very happy because he's a very socially aware man and artist who has brought me up for that.
রোহেন এটা একদম মানে বাংলাতেই বলে রাখতে চাই, আপনার বাবা এবং আপনার জনক এবং জননীকে আজকে আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানের পক্ষ থেকে আমাদের একদম চূড়ান্ত সুপ্রিম লেভেল অফ রেসপেক্ট এন্ড গ্র্যাটিটিউড জানাচ্ছি। I mean, your dad is a wonderful musician, a maestro of sarod. আর এর বাইরে যে আপনি বললেন, they try to shape you in a way that you are now. এই যে একটা কথা বললেন, that shows what kind of family education was behind yourself. এটা হলো এই যে আপনি বললেন যে আমি I wanted to be someone who can make change in the society. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, এটা যদি করি, এটা through whatever I do, এবং এটাই আসলে মানুষের, that has to be the aim of human being. যেটা যেখানেই আছি, যে জায়গাতেই আছি, we will make change. And what a beautiful verse you said. আমাদের supreme gratitude to your dad and your mom.
Thank you so much.
এটা জানিয়ে
I
রাখছি।
think we'll be really happy.
আমরা শেষের দিকে যাচ্ছি, যদি আর কারো, সঞ্জয় দা আপনার কোনো
আমি
প্রশ্ন
একটু
আছে?
বলতে চাই যে মানে সবাইকে বলার জন্য যে রোহেন যদি একটু বলো তোমার দাদুর কথা, হাউ মিউজিক্যাল ওয়াজ হি, আমি যতদূর জানি
আমি
একটু যদি তার কথা
আমার
একটু বলো।
দাদুর একটা গল্প বলতে চাই। I think this integrity will be defined by this story, you know. I haven't seen him. I think nobody of my generation has seen him because he died at the age of 52. And none of the brothers, like my uncles or my fathers, were married even. My father was probably in class 12 at that time. And he was a man of principles. I think he's the source where from where these principles are just brought down generation generation. I'll just tell you the story which I was told by my uncle. This is a story how he became a maestro. Probably I'll be putting it in a very simpler way, how he became a tabla player. I think everybody would know who have been listening to classical music. In 1940s, 1930s, 1940s, when when this concert hall concerts, you know, hall concerts just came into trend. 1930s is the decade where this idea of concert hall concert came in. 1940s, 50s, these were established conferences, but they were very poor musicians, and my grandfather was very, very poor, and big family, father working. My great grandfather was a very strange man. He was a very strange man. The big brother was doing a greater job, so he would also, very democratic one, but you do a great job, that doesn't mean you'll have a better food at home. Okay, that was the principle of my great grandfather. So whatever you do, you'll have to live like your brothers. So now the standard has to be same, because there are 4 brothers who are studying and 2 brothers who are working. Among these 2, one is a musician who hardly earns. So there's one guy who is doing a very big job. Now he can't come back home and say, you know, I want to have luchi, because you can't afford luchi, because there are so many people who can't afford luchi. So this is the type of a man my great grandfather was. So my grandfather was very poor because of that system that he used to live in. And that time there was a trend. You could sit on a newspaper outside the concert hall and listen in those speakers, street speakers. In Bengali we call chong, in those chongs. And Pandit Anokhalal Mishraji, who is probably the hallmark of skill in tabla, in the whole history of tabla, is the hallmark of skill. So he was playing in that conference, and my grandfather was sitting outside the concert hall on the streets on a newspaper. And it was so unbelievable for him that, you know, he thought that it's impossible for a human being to play like this. It's just impossible. So through the curtain, he just peeped into the concert hall, and the ticket checker who was there really pushed him away and insulted him. Said, you know, you don't have a social status, you are coming in, you know, you don't have any sense. Really insulted him. And I wouldn't name the concert hall, I wouldn't name the conference, because it's not good to. He went back walking home. He used to live in Tala. It's not Kolkata locality, Tala. He went back home walking and sat at his room and practiced for 16 hours a day. 16 hours a day. He could afford 4 rotis, and there's something in Bengali called jole bhaja begun. Like you just brush oil on brinjals and then you fry it in water basically. So half fried brinjals, 4 rotis and half fried brinjals, and 16 bidis, which is Indian cigarettes. 16 bidis, one at each hour, and 16 hours of riyaz. For 9 years, this man went back home and did this. And after 9 years, he played a 3-hour solo in that same conference. That was his first performance.
First performance. Wow.
That's why I have requested you to tell this story.
Wow.
I
And
think this story defines integrity.
Exactly. Exactly.
yes,
Exactly.
and one thing I would like to request, Rohen, one more thing. এই গল্পটা তুমি কখনো বলে এইটাই তুমি তবলাতে বাজাবে. That is my request. I mean, you can think about it. এই যে এটা কিন্তু
I'll
একটা
really do. It's a great idea. I'll
এটা
really
কিন্তু
do.
একটা wonderful idea. I mean, our
ছড়ার
people
ছড়ার মারফতে যদি বলা যায়।
বা লেখার মারফতে তুমি বলে তারপরে you can play this one, the tabla. মানুষে they will be really touched with this one, you know.
This story,
So
I
that's
think,
what
talks about dedication, focus, and concentration and determination, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So one should, I think, in my opinion, one should have, an artist should have focus and concentration in one thing, you know, rather than focusing on several things. I think the focus gets diluted. It's completely my opinion. So, you know, your forefathers have taught you this, to become, you know, completely focused on one instrument. You know, then you achieve a goal and then you can diverse yourself. But since you achieve that goal, you have to be constantly dedicated and focused and concentrated in one instrument. Completely my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely. It is to give the priority to one thing
Exactly.
first, and then to others.
Then to others.
That will be your identity. You know, the first
Exactly.
important thing. Yeah, I do agree with you.
Yeah.
Many thanks. Perhaps we have some of those. Yeah, something has been lost, I think. Eric, can you add your last recitation? And then I would request Rohen to do his last one before we finish.
Okay. I'm a very good example of that it can be a really bad thing to do too many things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Kaiser.
yeah.
I also want to say that, just reply to something that Shumana said earlier, that she felt at a disadvantage with all these poets. Whenever Shumana sings, she's a poet.
Exactly.
She's
Very
a songbird, and I haven't heard her sing for far too long.
Yeah, perhaps another day.
Another day, Eric. Another day. Every day I'm singing, but not today. And of course, I'm a poet too. In your opinion, I'm a poet too. Then.
And Rohan, I just said happy birthday a few days ago to an American folk singer and political activist. She was the one who got me the chance to sing with and be accompanied by Pete Seeger. Kaiser will know who I'm talking with.
Yeah.
It terrified me, but it was amazing. And Barbara Dane was 93 years old on the 12th of May. She's just finished her autobiography. She has been going for social change since the 1940s. She's also a wonderful, sensual singer, great political thinker. And but I'll finish with a short poem by Tagore. I dreamt that she sat by my head, tenderly ruffling my hair with her fingers, playing the melody of her touch. I looked at her face and struggled with my tears, till the agony of unspoken words burst my sleep like a bubble. I sat up and saw the glow of the Milky Way above my window, like a world of silence on fire. And I wondered at this moment, she had dreamt that rhymed with mine.
Wonderful. Many thanks, Eric. Many thanks for this beautiful addition
Thank you.
to this talk and performance. Rohen, can you please briefly describe what are the research work you have done so far on the language of Tabla?
Well, as I said, that the language of Tabla has been explored in different ways, but I'm not elaborating on the theories of linguistics, but the basic concept of a language, as I said, is a language is always validated by a structure. That structure may be very wide, like English structure, which is very wide. So something that I say can also be understood in America or in any part of the world. So the structure is big, but that doesn't mean that it's out of the structure. So as far as Tabla language is concerned, Tabla language doesn't fall in such a big structure. It's a very small structure where people can understand through it. And the benefit of these languages, it can be anything. It can be some random phonetic. Shukumar Ray had made phonetics for his nonsense poetry, and I don't know. This is a very deeply Bengali cultural thing. If anybody has read Nonte Fonte or Batul the Great, they must have noticed that there have been phonetics used in different incidents. Like some Nonte is having water, and it's written glukot glukot. So glukot glukot kore jol kacche.
Right.
It is a phonetic representation of drinking water. So now this glukot doesn't have a meaning. How are we making out of it? Is the context. We have a photo of he drinking, and we have somewhere heard a similar sound like glukot, and then there's a word, so we connect immediately. This is how abstract languages work, through context. In Hindi, I would say that I don't know how it happened, but in Bengali there have been people who have done this work, but in a very minimalistic level. My grandfather has done one or two works. Gan Babu, Pandit Gan Prakash Ghosh has done work on this, but those are very minimalistic. My uncle Acharya Jayanta Bose has done that play, and he has also written some of poetry in this language. But in Hindi, there have been a whole lot of work going on, specifically in Banaras Gharana. Other Gharanas, at least I don't know of, who have done it. But Banaras maestros have done a lot of work, and they are beautiful. Maybe they are somewhat restricted to the topics of gods, religiosity, spiritualism, or nature, but there is a massive amount of work done in this. They are brilliant. I think I'm a fan of Pandit Kishan Maharaj's poetry apart from his music. I thought that he could at least be a professional poet, the level of poetry he has done. So even his father is not Pandit Kanthe Maharajji, because he was adopted by Pandit Kanthe Maharajji. His father was Pandit Hari Maharajji, who was a fantastic poet. So the Ganesh Puran, which is very famous and popular by Tishan Maharaj ji, Gananam Ganapati Ganesh, Jo hai that is actually written by Pandit Hari Maharaj ji. So this is where from he gets that acumen from. So I started working on Bengali just to create a body of work in this.
But the research that you did on the language of Tabla, a linguistic discourse, did you do it from post-structural point of view, philosophical point of view? Because I have a huge interest in.
I did it because the paper that you are talking about was my PhD statement of purpose. No, not just I wanted to do a thesis on this, but I couldn't continue with the PhD because the protocol is horrible in India. So I submitted my SOP. I also got through the PhD, and this was my SOP, statement of purpose. And to create this statement of purpose, I worked a lot. And what I found is Tabla language has a very cultural identity with Indian classical music or Indian music. But there are several forms of gibberish languages in South America, in Eastern European countries. They are used. I'll tell you, in Bengal, I don't know how much is it valid in other parts of the world, but in Bengal, we use this Shaw language in studio, where we just interchange the alphabet of a particular word with Shaw or S. So if it's and we add that particular alphabet at the end of the word. So if it's Eric, we say Serik in.
Interesting.
So this is a code language that studio people have created because they want to speak in codes which they don't want the client to know. But this is a sort of gibberish, by the way. So there are several sorts of languages which can be used with the support of any constructed language like Bengali, Hindi, or any of that, and can be made into multilingual or bilingual poetry. I started off doing this poetry by bilingual poetry, where I used to write Bengali and Hindi together. But something that was important to me was not only to introduce just a word from a different language. My most primary intention was, if any of the languages are not known by the person, that person will understand it through the contextual relationship. So I wrote some of them in the initial stages just to get hold of this bilingual format, So I think Qazi Nazrul Islam has done a lot of work in it. He used to use Urdu words, he used to use Hindi words suddenly between Bengali poetry or Bengali song. But everybody understood. Even people who didn't understand Urdu, they knew what the word meant or what the sentence meant by the contextual relationship. So this is what I researched upon, that how my research was not on this kind of poetry. My research was on how to use different languages in one particular poetry, or one, not even poetry, like any statement, to communicate in a better way. So that if I am talking to a different person who is from a different culture, different language, how may I communicate through the amalgamation of different languages, which we do very regularly, by the way, but just a proper representation of it.
But Rohen, have you tried with Mezzofanti, the language, with once upon a time, it was, we used to discuss about this one. Have you heard about this one, Rohen? Mezzofanti?
No, I didn't.
No. Kaisabhai, you must have heard about this one, right?
No.
Mezzofanti, a language which is supposed to be the world language, and it is with the alphabets and words of French, Italian, Urdu. I mean, so many things. Mezzofanti. It is called mezzofanti. Anyway, I mean, it was mezzofanti. Yeah, MEZZOFANTI. Mezzofanti. We used to speak about this language that we had a dream about this language, that once this will be a most popular language in this world. We could, I mean, not even English, not even French. It's one language. We could unite the whole world through this language. So
True.
that was a
This
dream.
Right. Yeah. It's fun thing. But I mean, by all means, through music as well, because music, I personally have conviction that music also another language that is, I mean, apprehended and appreciated by everyone, even though you don't know the intricacies, but still it connects. So many thanks, Rohen. Let us finish with your last performance. What are you planning to do as last for our audiences? Anyone would like to add anything? Meantime, anyone? Jasmine, Mitul, please go on before we go for the performance.
Just wanted to express our hearty thanks and gratitude, Rohinda. It's been really, really fascinating, all the discussions. And I think, you know, in the midst of all this depressing and the calamities of COVID-19, I think these series of the online, you know, Shoulders concerts has been not just solace for us, but being able to share your thoughts and being able to spread this to so many people in different parts of the world is no less than a movement for me, which is just as powerful as any vaccination for COVID-19. So thank you so much from all of us again for joining us for this session.
Many thanks, Mitul.
Yeah, it was truly inspiring and uplifting to hear you talk and perform. Aristotle said, it is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. And I think Saudha's initiative to bring together so many great musicians, poets, and artists from different parts of the world started about 2 months ago. It's such a wonderful way of connecting communities from across the globe. And I strongly believe, even after this crisis is over, this will remain as part of the history. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Many thanks, Mitul, Shumana.
I just want to add that I came here to this panel this evening hoping to meet a tabla player, but I have seen a philosopher in you and a poet in you too, and you are a great thinker too. So it's a combination, and I really enjoyed. And best of luck for your future.
Many thanks, Sangeet.
Yeah, Rohen, I'm listening to you after a long time. I have enjoyed a lot and was listening to you. It was absolutely, it has overwhelmed me with your thoughts and the way you are upgrading yourself through your tabla and your everything. I mean, absolutely, my best wishes are always there for you.
Many thanks, Eric. Would like to add anything?
Just to say thank you to Rohan and everyone else. Very intelligent for a tabla player, as somebody said. As a drummer, I've had that as well. Enjoyed both your playing and the conversation and the history, and from everybody else, and the poetry from Jasmine, and it's. I was very grateful to be here. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Rohan.
Well, thank you everyone who is present here. Thank you everyone who was there with us in the live. Thank you to Mr. Kasher. Thank you, Sanjay uncle, for letting me this opportunity. And it was a fantastic experience to speak in front of such great creative minds, because it's a relief when creative minds meet and we can speak on something that's going on in our head somewhere, especially in these times when you can't go out even for a cup of tea or a walk. So it's really tough. We have probably got habituated, but it was very fresh for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything and this evening. Thank you. Thank you to
Let us finish
Saudha
with
Arts, by the way. Yeah.
many thanks, Rohen. Saudha will be always with the musicians, performance artists who wants to make change. And it's nice to see that you are one of those who wants to make change in the society. So let us listen to your last performance.
Yeah, I will end it with something that most of the Benares players end it with. It's a Nadhandina, a signature thing that most probably all the Benares players have played, and is particularly researched. This subject has been researched massively in Benares Gharana, Nadhandina, which may also be called as Tatkar or by any other name in other forms of art like Kathak or in other Gharanas as well. But it's basically Nadhandina, which is the theka of Teen Tal, but played in millions of other ways to create a groove, to create a trance, and to take people into this world of introspection. There has been a lot of talk about Indian classical music being spiritual, but I'll again come back to my uncle's saying. He says that Indian classical music is 50% technical, 30% instinctual, and 20% spiritual. So don't rush to spirituality. First attain the 50%, go on to the 30%, and then the 20% will come. so this is probably an instrument to attain that spirituality, or just to have an idea to that. I don't know whether I'll be able to create that, but yeah, just in the memory of all the maestros who have worked on this and gifted us. So yeah, just check the sound and the tune. there's a strange kind of bistar in Banaras. It's done with Kedak. How swiftly this Kedak comes in.
Many thanks, Rohen. The audience who are watching, this is such a pleasure for us who are in the panel today. And I'm sure this similar impression you have too, that we have such a great time in this profound talk and beautiful reflection of sound through tabla. We shun some sort of philosophical questions only because this may continue for the whole night. This question may invite more questions. But in a brief, I would like to say this is a question whether I felt sometime whether sound is important for humankind. A great poet of Bengal, Monindra Gupta said, in Bengali it says, Shabdo komuk, Manush komuk, Nishorgo barok, Nodi aro dikho hok, Samudro aro prosadito hok. So এই যে শব্দের ভুবন, the artistry of sound, whether it is important for humankind. So this is a philosophical question that is raised nowadays. But again, in the end, we can say through this music, perhaps you will see, especially the tabla player from Indian background, they take so much time to prepare their tabla, and they just listen until they get the perfect sound. Only because this sound replicates the silence in your heart. So although it gives a sound, but this reflects enormous, eternal silence. So I think that's why perhaps this music has to continue its flow. Those who are watching, please stay tuned. Tomorrow we will feature another great young maestro of sitar, son of a legendary sitar maestro, Shahid Parvezi, Shakir Khan. And day after tomorrow, as part of this concert series, we'll feature Rajvinder Singh, another wonderful award-winning ghazal singer. And as part of this concert series, there are so many musicians around the globe. One of the finest Japanese singer will be featured in 20th of this month, and many other great world-class singers, poets, filmmakers. So we'll discover, explore their journey in art, and also along with some rare performances.
Dr. Shoma Ghosh is also coming by the next week.
On 23,
wonderful singer.
Vidushi Shoma Ghosh on 23rd of this month on Saturday. So there are many musicians from all around the globe will be the part of this concert series. So please stay tuned. And only thing I'd like to tell Rohen, would like to see you soon in world stage with these meaningful collaboration that can expand, like you said, push the boundary, not break, push the boundary of this great artistry of Hindustani or Indian classical music in general. So many, many thanks, a gratitude, respect again to your parents for shaping you and your gurus for shaping you as you are now. And many thanks to our panel members. Many thanks to all of our audiences. See you
All
soon
my
again.
best wishes to Rohan as well.
See you
And
soon
to-
again and have a
Thank you.
wonderful rest
You
of the
too.
evening.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.